Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. This is Stacy, and this is going to be my Stamp Wars 15 follow-up video, which was sponsored by Gel Press. And I want to thank the ladies at Gel Press and everybody else who was involved in helping get Stamp Wars 15 set up. It was very different for me. I'll just say that. I think if you watched Stamp Wars, you'll know that in the very beginning, I was like, Cheryl from Gel Press was our special guest, and she's basically like their creative director and teacher. So I was like, I have a professional right here that can show me how to do this or give me tips, you know, to get me started and stuff. And so that's what I did. I asked her, I was like, give me some, you know, some steps to do and get me started. And she did just that. It was awesome. I think if you watch the video, you will notice that I'm following her instructions and doing what she's telling me to do in the very beginning. And then after a while, I just kind of just go, because at that point I was like, okay, I got what I need to understand what I can do. And one of the main things that you can do is just be free. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. I think one of the reasons I struggled with it a little bit in the beginning was that for crafting, there's always like a best practice and a so-so practice and don't do this. For gel printing, there's really no rhyme or reason. So I'm a very logical person and analytical. So I like to have kind of steps like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you don't really have that here. So this is definitely out of my comfort zone, out of my box. But again, it's one of the reasons why I love Stamp Wars, is it makes me step outside of that box and try things that I don't normally fall into. It's not really my cup of tea. I do have gel press stuff. As you noticed, I had my own acrylic paints. I love the metallics. I always love something that's sparkly over something that's not. So I had a lot of the mediums that, you know, I could use, and I went with the acrylic paints because I really wanted to play with those. I got those specifically for that reason. Hadn't really used them, but maybe once, and didn't get the results that I was really looking for. So I just kind of put everything away. So this was a lot of fun, and I've been playing and doing some other things. So I wanted to make some backgrounds, actually some panels. Well, it's going to be a background and a panel. I want to do some eclipse cards, and I wanted to do some panels that I could cut out and, you know, do the eclipse technique with. So I've been playing around, and one of the things I wanted to use something different than everybody else used. And I pulled out, I have the Spectrum Noir Sparkle. I call them sparkle pots because they're like little pots. But this is just basically a glitter ink. It's a watercolor ink though. It's very iridescent. Again, I love sparkle. All of these are sparkle. They're really similar and pretty much the same. Not even similar, but they are the Spectrum Noir Sparkle markers. So these are brush markers, and they are glitter markers. So this is pretty much the same thing, but it's just in a free flowing pot. So I'm going to be using these. I've been playing around with them. I'm also going to show you a Christmas card, a holiday card that I created, and another way that you can use, you know, some of the items that we got from Gel Press. So they have the regular printing plates. So this one I'm using here is a 6x6 gel printing plate from Gel Press, and I left the acetate on the back because one of the things that we learned is do not put your gel press on a silicone mat. It tends to, I guess, meld with it, become one. So that's not good if you leave it on there too long. And then we also got these petites, so gel press petites, and this one has a thought cloud, a talk bubble, and then a medallion, which medallion is right here. I was playing with it a little bit. So this is the medallion. So these are little ones, and so I'm actually going to be using, there's a round one. That's the one I'm going to be using for the ornaments that I'm going to be doing later. But in the beginning though, I just wanted to show you really quick. This is a panel that I created with the Spectrum Noir sparkle pots, the glitter ink. And hopefully you can see there we go. You can see the sparkle. And this is done in layers. This is done on watercolor cardstock. I did some on some just regular copy paper, and I didn't like exactly how the sparkle ink moved. So this one came out the best, and so this is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to stick to the watercolor paper, and I think it'll work better too for the eclipse technique that I'm going to do in the end. So the first step I was working on was putting down, I did yellow, then I did, and this one is, the main one I'm using is called Shades of Spring, and they come in a 3-pack most of the time. So I have the Shades of Spring, which have, let's see if it has the, nope, I'm gonna have to read them. So this one is Soft Jade, this one is Moonlight, and then this one is Pink Champagne, and then this one is from the Glitz and Glamour set, which is Pink Garnet. So it's a hot pink kind of looking color. So I'm going to add that in the end. And let's see, what else was I going to, oh, it's going to show you my swatch sheet because I do have a lot of them. And so, like I said, they come in, and I made this swatch sheet based on one that I found online, and then just filled it out. But so the Forest, Falling Leaves, Enchanted Hues, Cozy Christmas. So these are all the different pots, and then the colors swatched out. So there's a lot of different ones. And I do think I have, as of last year, I had them all. I do not know if they've come out with more, but I have enough. I don't need any more. So, all right. So what I'm going to do then is I found there's a couple of different ways that you can lay down the watercolor, and that's basically just what this is. It's a watercolor. So if you lay down the watercolor, I was using a pipette at one point, which is one of these. So it's like a, you know, a very small turkey baster. And so you just suck up the ink and you drop it down. But then I had to rinse this out, and that got messy. So I pulled out my watercolor brushes, and it's got water in the handle. So once I'm done, then what I can do is I can just squeeze out the water, and I can rinse out the brush and go to the next color. So we'll start with the yellow. And what you do is, because there is all of the pigment and stuff is down on the bottom, you really don't want to flip the thing over like I just did, because now the lid is full of ink too. So normally what you want to do is you just want to swirl it. And you hear there's a little BB inside there, metal bead, whatever. And so you're going to, well, I guess I do tip it over because I have to see if it's mixed. So, yep, that one's mixed. Set these aside. So I'm going to open that up. And then I'm going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a little bit and I'm going to swipe it on. And you can see how it beads up. Now what I've noticed is if you put brush marks in there, brush marks most likely will show up on your paper. So if that bothers you, find a different way to put the medium down. If you spritz it with water, then you will get a different look than if you just leave it like this. And I'll show you, hopefully this will work. So let's do this. I'm going to lay this down. This is my watercolor paper, like I said. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll come along the sides and just sop up the excess. And then for watercolor paper, for whatever reason, it loves to curl when it gets really wet. So pull that off. And there you have a nice blotchy. I like it though. I want it to be something like that. So now if I had added spritzed water on the top of it, this is what you would have got, was something more solid. It doesn't beat up as much. And I have little furs on there, come right off. It doesn't beat up as much, which is fine. I can still use this because I can put a layer over this that will look more like this. So And now let's go and do one more, because I'm going to do 3 of each, and this is just going to be quick. For watercolor paper, there is a smoother side and then a rough side. I'm going to go with the rough side on this one, so I want texture. And then I'm going to come here, just make sure it gets all the way out to the edges. I'm wearing gloves because I did this last night and I had inky fingers, and I was like, nah, I don't, why when I have gloves? So then there's that one. I'm going to clean my brush, and so because it's a water brush, you just basically squeeze it and then water comes out of the tip. These are great brushes for watercolors when you have, like, you know, a watercolor palette, because you can come in and you can just, like, when, you know, it's a clean brush, you can just go in and drop some water and whatever color you want to use. And okay, my water is empty, so one thing that you can use, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it's just a little tip for you. The Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, the nozzle fits perfectly into these water brush, so you just fill it up. And then we will clean that out some more, and then once it's basically no more ink, and I can move on, and there we go, that's clean. All right, and then I'll come over here and I'm going to wipe this off. Not that I really have to, I guess. The reason I would is because I'm going to be painting on this out of the next pot, and I don't want to cross-contaminate my colors. So now I want to dry these before I do the next step. So I'm going to take this, set it aside because I don't want it near my heat gun. And then I'm going to just simply heat these, and if you notice, they're bowed at the moment, but if you apply heat to the bowed side, it'll flatten. So I will show you. So just like that, it's fairly flat. So we've got, now this one is Soft Jade. Bring in the gel plate. And so I'm going to do the same thing. Brush it off. And the other reason I like to get around the edges is because if it goes over the edge, then it seeps over underneath the acetate. Okay, so that one came out, I don't know, it looks more green, but blue-green, so that's cool. Let's switch it up. Let's try and do the pink champagne and see what happens if I do that one first. Okay, so yellow and pink make orange. Totally different. I think if we were to do the hot pink, it's probably going to give me the same. But you know what? Let's just, why not? We've already done the other two. Let's just do the hot pink. And if you're asking why I didn't stir these up before I started my video, because they would have already settled. They settle pretty quick. I'll show you. This is the... See, it's already settled. So you have to stir them right before you use them. And you can use less ink if you want. Oof. So I still have my yellow in there, and I definitely have the pink. So those did not blend. Those are all on their own. That's a very bold one. I like it though. I'm liking them all. I mean, what's not to like? You can't be picky on this. You get what you get. Now I've got 3 different ones. Definitely, you know, all different. All right, so let's do this one with the same, but I'm going to use less. What did I just lay down? Oh, the pink. So that looks cool. Okay, I'm not mad. I love how shimmery it is. I'm just loving the glitter. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do this one now. And again, we need to do less. Oof, still overpowered everything, but it's not bad. You see how I got that brush stroke in there? That's really cool. That's interesting. Maybe I use this one. Yeah, let's try this. This is Aquamarine from the Glitz and Glamour set. Okay, this is going to be definitely more pigmented than the one that I've already done, the one I showed you in the beginning. That's interesting. It made purple. I'll show you really quick how I made this card. So this is a, this is using this gel press, and then it's using a ornament die that I have from my stash. I used a stamp from Catherine Pooler, and this is the Making Spirits Bright stamp set. And then this is, let me not forget my embossing folder. You guys know me, I love my embossing folders. So this is the Tim Holtz, it is called Christmas Tree Pattern. So this is this embossing folder from Sizzix. It's a 3D embossing folder. And so that's the background here. So what I did was I put some ink down, and we're not going to use red because that looks too much like a murder scene. So we're going to do green. We'll go with Traditional Christmas. So there's a sparkle pot set called Traditional Christmas. And it has, does it have the names on here? It does. So it's Glacé Cherry, Festive Spruce, and Sleigh Bell. So we're going to use Festive Spruce, which is the green. This is just brushed on. I think that looks pretty good. And you can see the glitters built in, you know, in there. And if you wanted to, you could just do this on a card panel, just a card front, and then decorate it like an ornament without cutting it out. I just chose to cut it out and pop it up because I love my embossing folders. So I definitely wanted to do that. This is going to be the other way. So the other way is we're just going to brush on, and then we're going to spritz it with some water. And you get a solid ornament or pole. I think this is the same green, so you can kind of see how it's going to dry back. And so this is brushed on. This one's brushed on, sorry. Oh, this is my Kuretake Starry Colors watercolors. And so I just took a brush, added some water, and then I flicked on the gold to give it a little bit more texture. So I've got gold on there. And so that's the brushed on one. And then this is the more full one where I brushed it on and then added water. And that is what that one looks like. And so then you can add a little ribbon and you got a cute little Christmas card. The other question you guys might have is, does the glitter rub off? It does. So if I rub this, I now have glitter on my fingers. So what I would recommend doing, I use a finishing spray, hairspray. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to spray this and let it dry so that when I'm putting it through my die cutting machine and working with it, I don't have glitter falling off. So I'll be right back. So I've added my fixative, as you want to call it. And that's a trick also you can use for like pan pastels. To do the eclipse, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a die cut, and I'm going to make this into a thank you card. I'm going to use this thanks. We're going to do the thanks right in the middle, and then I'm also going to cut this die out of the white craft foam. One thing I wanted to mention was make sure you keep all the bits and pieces. So if you have like stuff that falls out, make sure you hang on to those. Okay, and here's my craft foam. So same thing. so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to fit on here. And we're going to use the decal trimmer. Now I can mount this onto my base. It's going to go on there like that. Okay, so the next step is going to be, I'm going to glue this onto the craft foam. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to use this die cut as the guide for the foam, because the foam is very stretchy and stuff. And if I were to put the foam in here, it may not line up perfectly when I want to put the die cut on there. And while I've got glue on these two pieces, I'm able to move this around, slide it around and stuff. And I've got wiggle room to make sure it's lined up correctly. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back. Okay, this has been sitting for a few minutes so that it's dry. So I have my die cut mounted on my craft foam. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this into the little cutout space. Okay, so the next step is going to be to add back in these little pieces, and they're going to go as insets. And that is what you call an eclipse card. So I found some clear gems and just popped those on there, and this card is done. And it's just a pack of these I got off Amazon for pretty cheap, so love those. They're pretty handy. So again, I want to thank Gel Press for sponsoring Stamp Wars 15. You guys are awesome. Unfortunately, we don't have a discount code, but I am doing a giveaway. So in the comments below, I would like to know if you've used a gel press, and so if you haven't, that's fine. You can say no. If you have, tell me what you like to use it for. Like, what's your favorite medium, I guess, like inks, pan pastels like Nancy did, or acrylic paints, whatever. And then I will be doing a giveaway based on the comments after this video is posted, and we will be doing a live on the 30th where we will be drawing the names for all of them. So if you aren't subscribed to Nancy Stamps, Chow, which is Create with Chow, Tracy Schultz, which is also the Hopeful Crafter, and then of course you're here, so SNR Creations, and Renee's channel, then be sure to go and subscribe to them. I will put the links to their channels in the description below. And there's also the links for all the other Stamp Wars that we've had. So if you've missed any, be sure to go check those out. They're pretty entertaining. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that you get all the notifications. And thanks very much, guys. Bye-bye.